This is how I made this Amapiano beat inspired by Stixx. And the trumpet melodies you just heard, well, I didn't play them. I generated them using ACE Studio. In today's video, I'll be breaking down exactly how everything was put together. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. So the percussion is pretty simple. We have a clap and tap sequence, 3 loops, and I added a kick. So let me take you guys through all the loops. So this is our first loop, and this is our second loop, and this is our third loop. And I also have a kick and also a cowbell and a clap. So here's how the pattern sounds. It plays throughout the whole song. So let me take you guys through the chord progression. Now, as you guys know, Stixx is someone who uses a lot of jazzy chords. This is what I came up with. So as you guys can see, we have a 4-chord progression which goes from a 4, which is our F sharp, to a 3, which is our F5, which is our G sharp, and we end things off with a sharp. Now here comes the fun part. We know that instruments are used a lot. Lately I've been hearing a lot of trumpets from his production. So what I decided to do was to add trumpets. I used ACE Studio to generate my trumpet. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So I basically exported the percussion and the chords. Now I imported them into ACE Studio. Now the yellow part is basically our beat. Let me solo it. Now the things that are on top are the things that I generated. So ACE Studio allows you to have almost any instrument you want in your production. There's a feature that they recently added, which is the add a layer feature. So you can basically highlight the section where you want to add an instrument, and then we're basically going to open the add a layer tab. Then we describe the sound of the instrument that we want, describe the instrument, then we're gonna click generate. As you guys can see, I generated a lot of things. Let me play you guys everything and I'll show you guys the things that I basically used for the beat. So this is the first trumpet that I got. This is the second trumpet. It basically sounds like the previous one, but it's longer. Then I basically generated more and more and more. And I also tried to generate a guitar, which sounds like this. So then thereafter I imported the trumpet. So as you guys can see, I did a bit of rearrangements to the trumpet so that it gels with the beat that I created and also the ideas that I had in mind. Now once I was happy with the trumpet, I basically added a pad sound to the chords just to make it a bit mellow. Now after adding the pad, I decided to add the shakers. Now the shakers are basically there to add a bit of high end and also to just keep the beat going. So you won't hear much of the shaker but it's doing something in the background. Now after that, I decided to add a melody. So for the melody, if you listen to Stixx's production, most of the melodies are created using a lead sound. So let me play you guys the melody along with the rest of the beat. As you can hear, it's supporting the trumpet. It's not taking the shine. Then thereafter, underneath, I just tucked in some ambient sounds. So after that, I decided to add more layers to the melody. So then thereafter, we have just percussion. Next up, we have a piano. Let me play you guys the solo along with the chords and the rest of the percussion so far. Let's hear how it sounds. Next up, we have just the snare and an open hat. So a snare is used a lot in its production. The snares are basically there to support the rhythm or the bounce of the beat. So there's no context, but let's do this now. The snare and the bass, they need to work well together. It's like you're playing a drum, a real drum. You get me? Goo, tick, goo, tick, goo. So now let's look at the bass guitar that is introduced here. So there's a slide here, just the slide. And then we have more percussion. So that's the loop that's introduced, and we have a pad or a string that just plays throughout. And here's how everything sounds all together. As you guys can hear, the snare is driving the beat. So we basically have three layers. We have the log drum, and then we have the sub in the form of a tube bass. This is a substitute for a tube bass. You can use this, it's very good. Here's how it sounds. As you can hear, it's very thick. And then we have a very thin log drum. So all together they sound like this. Next up, we have a different variation of the bass line. So I added just extra notes here and there just to make it a bit different from the first log drum. Then thereafter I added an arpeggio sound. and then we also have a hi-hat loop, again supporting the upbeat thing that I was talking about. The next thing that I did was to add a shaker, and then we have a bit of percussion, which is a hi-hat. Next up we have chords. I just chopped them a bit just to give them a bit of energy. So I added a bit of delay, and then I automated the chords. Then we have a guitar that I generated with ACE Studio, and here's how it sounds. Let me play you guys this section. So most of the time when the bass line is playing or the log drum is playing, I add a pad sound. So I removed the Rhodes sound that we started with, just add a pad sound, let the bass line do all the work, then support it with percussion and shakers, and add a bit of instruments here and there, and then we have our FX sounds, which sound like this. So that's how you basically create unique stuff. You take existing stuff, you combine them, and you create a new thing. So all the elements have been broken down. The only thing that I need to just highlight is the arrangement. So as you can see, we have the chords starting out, and then we have the trumpets being introduced there, and we have a pad and a lead melody being introduced. So it's very important to introduce your melodies earlier on. Melodies make people sing the song. And then we have a piano solo, a very long piano solo, but there are times where I just play the chords. For example, I played the chords there mainly because there is a lead melody playing and there's also the trumpet, so you need to give all of them space. So that's why I basically did what I did. That's about it. Thank you for watching, guys. A big shout out to AC Studio for sponsoring this video, and if you'd like to generate instruments for your own production, the link will be in the description below. Please go check out their website. It's been a pleasure.